Kwame Afenyo marking minority leader there. Returned from the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology. Work going on as usual, or there has been a pause?
Yeah, there has been a pause. Currently, I mean, looking at what is the whole country is, how the story just hit us. We went to the ministry. We could see us. I mean, there's nothing going on. People crying. I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy just to lose somebody just like that. Be the vice chairman of the NDC in Canada. Very soon they will load the video so that we all listen to what he said. I mean, and a nephew too as well. So speaking from at least two sides, from the party side and the family, it's not easy for them.
Right. Let's take a listen to what he's been saying so far.
To confirm, I mean, I had seen like a headline earlier about a helicopter crash. I didn't read it. So it was when I got the news that I tried to confirm from other people. And then subsequently we got the feed from the presidency to confirm the sad news. It hit me really hard because I'm a constituent and a nephew of his. He's been like a mentor to me prior to even going to secondary school. And actually on Monday, yesterday, I was about to see him and got a call to meet somebody else and had to leave. So the whole of today to find out. And it's been really hard. What I can say about him is, he's an amazing personality. If we needed somebody that could speak truth to power, he was one such person. We've always wondered how he managed to get into the political space, because he would say things as they are. But they say that good people don't last, and I guess this is just one of the instances. He's shown amazing character, and as Muslims, we say Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un, but Allah knows best. But he was a good Muslim as well, so we take solace in the fact that he took his religion extremely seriously. He took family seriously as well. He took his work seriously as well. My name is Aliyu Abdul Hamid. I'm the vice chairman for the NDC in Canada, and as well a constituent from Tamale Central, and his nephew, his dad and my grandmother are direct siblings. So that tells you how close the relationship is, and this has come really, really hard. On Friday for almost an hour, and I was with him on Monday as well. And he genuinely, like I said, he inspired me before I even went to secondary school. I remember when I was in the university, I pursued my undergrad in tech, and then he had come to pursue his postgraduate studies. Any guy he saw from Tamale, he was very unstable because he used to run different offices outside of the country. Anytime he saw anybody from Tamale, he would tell them, "You're gonna, talk with me." So we share a very good relationship. And it's extremely hard, and it's going to be hard for everybody that knows him personally, because he is an amazing person too.
That's NDC
Tamale Central, where the MP, Honorable Murtala, was the MP there.
That's Tamale Central.
Yeah. So one other thing is our flags too, as was directed, should fly at half-mast, and it's in order. When we got to the Parliament, the front, that's the entrance of the Parliament, the flags were half marks. I mean, some of the banks, I mean, it was all at half marks. So at least
But you couldn't enter Parliament?
we couldn't enter because Parliament was on recess, and looking at some of the security, they'll be asking you. So we just told them, this is the situation at hand. They said, oh, okay, that's it. So we should enter.
But apart from him, were you able to speak to any other
we
person
wanted to
at the
speak
Ministry
with
of Environment?
we wanted to speak with his workers, but they didn't want to. They said presidency have spoken, so that is it. So there is no other statement. But you could see that they are not taking it so easy. It's not easy for everybody there, looking at how they've worked close with him.
All right. Thank you very much, Raphael.
Yeah.
Is our correspondent. He's been to the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology. He's been speaking to the nephew or a nephew of the former minister or the late Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. He represents a benevolent benefactor to many of the young guys coming from the northern region, specifically Tamale. He would provide some support, financial support, as we heard him speak of defense and also the Boamah camp area. He's been speaking to some of the military personnel and some of the persons who find themselves around these two locations. He joins me in studio. He'll be sharing his thoughts, the mood like. As Raphael said, the flags are flying at half-mast.
Of course, you know, because the sad news that we have all received, you know, it's kind of devastating. And if you sit and if it's because of the time or the timing, let's say, if it's because of that, that's fine. But as you move through the streets, you know, the streets are empty kind of. And especially when I go to the Defense Ministry, virtually no one is there. Just the military officers or the officers on duty are those that I met there. And so heading to the Boamah camp, also almost the same thing. And also really the environment of Boamah camp also very quiet. You don't really see any other person, people moving on. You don't see those. And the PR department, where I actually went to speak to the head of the public relations department, almost the place is empty. Just a few military officers, I could say maybe 4 or 5 I met, including the officer I spoke with. That's Captain Veronica Ahen. So the place is very quiet. The streets are quiet.
So apart from that, you couldn't speak to anybody? Really?
I spoke to one of the, 2 officers, and should I say they are dumbfounded? They can't really speak, even trying to get some, information from them, how they received the news and all that. According to them, it was very sad. And the environment, when, mid-morning, afternoon, when the issue came up, according to them, they were devastated.
Right.
So the kind of places, and as at this time, you don't really see anyone there, just that those few people. And as I mentioned, they can't really even speak out.
When did you hear the news yourself, and how did you receive it?
Maybe almost the same time. Every Ghanaian received it.
Sure.
Sorry for that. And around 11 thereabout, coming to that, because the issue itself or the news itself broke out. You could see blogging where out, or let's say patronage on social media is very, very good, and because of that, the media houses, they were all all over online reporting. So the issue itself, or people got to know much about the issue.
Did you have any personal encounter with any of them? You covered any of them? You spoke to any of them? Dr. Omane Boamah, Ibrahim Murtala, doctor. You spoke to any of them before?
I think the personal, I don't really remember the officer's name, but there's a person, no, not personal, it's I've forgotten the term they use,
Sure.
The military terms, I should be careful.
Right.
One of the officers, top officials of the Ghana Armed Forces, just about 3-4 months ago, they were doing the ceremony for him. So Dr. Omane Boamah, Omane Boamah came around, and as you know him, I don't know how, maybe generally how people see him, but for me, I see him to be a quiet person, gentle person, and all that. So I haven't spoken with him one-on-one. Just that maybe I would say one of our colleagues, camera officer, says he's okay, he's good. He met him, the way he spoke with him, and even, I mean, the kind of interaction he had with him, and who he is and all that. You realize that the man is a good man and a great man. And maybe I should add up the officer, Veronica. No, sorry, I should be careful. Captain Veronica Ahin mentioned that he had a vision for the Ghana Armed Forces or Defense Ministry, because looking at things that he had, I mean, he had put on paper, let's say, to roll out for the Defense Ministry or for Ghana or for Ghana Armed Forces was a good one. That it's hard that he couldn't live up to the time.
Right. Right. Very sad indeed. That was our correspondent, Walker Abronoma. He's been to the Ministry of Defense and the Boamah camp area. What we know now is that there is a mission to retrieve the charred bodies back to Accra. Not too long ago, when the exercise was ongoing, whether that particular exercise has been concluded and the bodies will be returning back to Accra as has been announced. But let's hear some stories from you know, the Minister of Defense, the Minister for Environment, as we have captured it here at GBC News on official assignments in the past.
Boamah's working visit was the Eastern Naval Command at Tema, where he inspected a guard of honor. He cautioned that henceforth, military officers found to have approved or been involved in offering guard duties to unauthorized civilians would face disciplinary action.
We expect a very high degree of discipline and professionalism from the Ghana Armed Forces, and that we cannot compromise. And let me also repeat, this discipline also means not providing guard duties for individuals who are not permitted. Those who provide the guard duties will be dealt with. One, those who deployed the people to go and provide the guard duties will also be dealt with.
The Defense Minister also commended the Navy for its role in national security, especially in securing the country's oil and gas infrastructure, fighting narcotics trafficking, and countering piracy and maritime crime. He warned that violent extremist groups and criminal syndicates are increasingly using the high seas to smuggle drugs and oil, making the work of the Navy even more critical. On personal welfare, the minister disclosed that the armed forces are facing a housing deficit of over 17,000 units for officers. He then took a tour of some of the abandoned housing projects at the naval base. The flag officer commanding the Eastern Naval Command, Commodore Solomon Esiedula,
the World Health Organization says that around 2030 to 2050, it's estimated that about 250,000 people will die in a year due to climate change issues and harmful environmental practices.
He announced that next few years, he also toured the base ammunition depot at Tema and the Army Recruit Training School at Shire Hills.
Asem no yate ne yɛntie if you say no kwasem ne yie sɛ asem we die yɛsomɔ nyɛ yie if you say abrante a wasi su a bɔme ha wo ba sɛ deɛ wɔne kita kure a yɛde wɔn hoahoa yɛ ho na no ya na ona ba ban mu a yɛnim sɛ bibi ni a yɛbɛtumi aboa na mmɔfra ne awono ɛpɛ bibi ayɛ yɛbɛtumi afa wɔn so kora na ɛtumi ayɛ fufi antoata enti sɛ asem we yɛsomɔ nso no kwase mini ha papa na eya rehosam se onipa wokoye wasora ma de ache na wokoye oman no mu adwuma na kosia nkwanhie wu ete se anokware ginyame nkuto ginyame vi se eya de na me de me hawo nyina ye ne maame me hawo papa no vi se ne one ne maame tie anokware nyankopɔn anim wode na ye ni biri biara eno nti dom ono nso so no ode ne nkrofo nso free enkran Asia yen na ya aka no ja obi amanfo so asem obaako akohu no adasefo wen bi ni nti gise bomi mpani ne bomi aman nyina yakota na chi okofo dua ho na etimi chichi ne were se de aba no nyo baakofo nko na da ne so da ye nyina so na usu anso bomi ni fa hene
no kware ni enne asemato bomi man anopana yete no kware ni krono bibia betoye so na yehu ne babia yemfa mfiri na yehu babia yade kosi ise ya na anwen se sade ebeto yen na nso so ene den anyaba yete ye no esan se yewura nana efu panama otoso miensa watia 90 kakra dinafe aboye no kware aboye nyanya yehu ne yemfa mobeto ye aboabo ya no kakra yetieti mu nsem na mode ba ye sese ye ni atuoto ye nsem no kware ni yehu ne yenka afia na sem na ba onwe esu onwe etwa jaju etwa aya ban asem nti no sese ye twa ne atie ni aban no eka enumu ne yebehu ne yebeye sese se ne medi kan no yewura eye obome hene na ne fo na ma otoso miensa ono nso so watia 90 kakra yeguso ne kasa wa homa so nti afia na asiti no niema ni nyanya ntutu yie ye boabo ansem na no ne ehunu ginabia anakra yehia ha no ni fa hene wa ha na nasokwa wa ha achiame wa ha ti afi ne ye boabo ya no ebinum nso so free nkokọ ne ade afi no omso ate a wo nso ba enti ye boabo ansem no nyina ano na ne besi no ye be mama so ate se yesi e ka no asem de a ye nwie ka o mobile yesi ye dane ye ni kura ko ahemfie ba bi ye ye kura o hwa ati Dr. Omane Boamah ene yewura Julius Debra almost stand e wosoro enti ye kire dwumadie nwanwa so a wadi amaye afi yan ICT center ono ankasa ene odum ya ye nsaka enma yama wa yamaye de yesi ye ka ade be kyen yakura enema bibiri a ye de be kai
College students, ladies and gentlemen, and of course our friends from the media. When my sister from Zimbabwe was speaking and said that they have come to learn from us, I thought she would have said they have come to learn from their in-laws. And I have met a lot of Zimbabwean student leaders when I was the Secretary General of the All Africa Students Union. And everywhere we go, they would tell us that Zimbabwe was all right when the Ghanaian woman was the first lady. And Zimbabwe ceased to be all right when she unfortunately passed. Maybe perhaps Zimbabwe should come and then we give them another Ghana.
The World Health Organization says that around 2030 to 2050 is estimated.
And at the same time, a source of overwhelming pleasure. And I say so because I've had the opportunity to share a platform with one of the distinguished and honorable citizens of this country, Professor Mohammed. It is a privilege. And again, Professor Abigail and I were mates. We were not really mates, we were study group mates. And of course, my kid brother, the professor, known each other for a very long time, and he got this goodwill message at the opening ceremony of the 2025 edition of the Africa Regional Conference and Exhibition on Education and Skills. Your kind invitation, you and the Ministry of Environment, Science and Care, my ministry, and seeing that more partners have joined, for me is a testament of our commitment to research in Ghana and Africa. In Accra Technical University for initiating this critical conference. Your vision and dedication to improving education and skill development in Africa are truly commendable. Thanks also to the Ghana Academy of Sciences and all sponsors. Indeed, this conference stands as a testament to a power of collaboration and shared purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, science, technology, and innovation are at the heart of our transformation as a country. As the Minister of Environment, Science and Technology, and of course, innovation, and I'll tell you a story. I attended a program with His Excellency the President. You know, through executive instrument, the eye has been taken out, but that is just executive instrument. We now have Minister of Communication and Innovation. But it doesn't mean that innovation is insulated from the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology. So innovation is still part and parcel of the Ministry of Environment. So people say mess, I still insist it's messy. So even by executive instrument, the I is not pronounced, but it's still part and parcel of what we do as a ministry. I'm particularly excited about the potential of the emerging technologies to revolutionize education and create new opportunities for our young people. From digital learning platforms to cutting-edge vocational training programs, the integration of technology in Ghana certainly cannot be left behind. This conference therefore comes at a pivotal time when the need to redefine globally. Particularly, I am excited about education to address skill gaps for youth employment and the need for a broader policy framework among governments. 2, industry collaboration development. Maybe perhaps I would suggest that if we can look at what we can do with all the 3 thematic areas, focusing on policy formulation. Because one of the speakers said here, everything we do here, so policy formulation and the implementation of same is significant. These topics are not just academic discussions, they are the building blocks for the future of our continent, by fostering an environment where education meets the Indian world. The references is how this conference fits with the aspirations of the biannual Environment, Science and Technology Forum that the ministry is organizing. And Prof. Chair, when I took over as a Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, and I must admit that when my name was mentioned as someone designated for Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology, I was wondering what I was going to do there, because my background is political science, but my PhD was actually in political science. Even though myself and Professor Abigail, we started as psychologists, the President decided to let me go there, based on one of the comments made here by one of our speakers, that technology is not a solution by itself. Technology is driven by something. And in contemporary developmental strategy, you cannot have development if you do not have adequate good governance practices, under which I realized that when I asked them to do personal introduction, and Professor Dampare is here, each and every one of them, Professor this, Professor this, Professor this. So I was asking myself, what am I going to do with these professors? Little did I know that yes, whatever scientific discovery or research that is identified can only be anchored in an environment of good governance practices, where you have engagement, transparency, and accountability, and that is the way to go. When I went around meeting, I took a working tour of all the agencies. And let me use a big word here. I was flabbergasted. And when we were in secondary school, we like using very big words. I realized that there are enormous research outputs done by our research institutions, unfortunately, and those research outputs are left in the shelves to gather dust. So I was asking myself, from where I sat, I never knew the capacity of our research institutions and the ability to do the kinds of things they did. The question I asked myself then was, now if you have these brains, if you have these research outputs, why are they not being utilized? And the only conclusion I could come to was that perhaps the information is not out there. Perhaps the opportunities are not made known, particularly to industry players. So I went to His Excellency the President, and I said, look, Your Excellency, I have had some visits of the various institutions, and I realized that from where I sat, I have been a Deputy Minister for Trade and Industries before, that we rely on experts out there, and we spend a lot of money and resources. I said, we have the solution here because of the interactions I've had with these research institutions. And I said, what do we then do? Then he then said that we need to start what we haven't had. Organize the first Environment, Science and Technology Forum, where we bring together research institutions, academia, and players in the industry, so that they can take advantage of the enormous research output there. One, we create the platform as a government for the research output that are left in the shelf to gather dust to be taken advantage of. It is also an opportunity for private sector to challenge research institutions to conduct researches that are tailored to what they are already doing. And I'll give you a classical example. The first time I ate niche fufu, and those of you who haven't tried Ghanaian food, the debate between Ghana and Nigeria, I know my Nigerian friend brothers are here, should not even be limited to just jollof. Unless you have fufu, there is fufu also in Nigeria. You need a lot of energy to pound fufu. You need a lot of energy. I mean, the traditional way of. I was then the Secretary General of the All Africa Students Union, and I was invited to attend a program in Paris by looking at the money you spend in renting a hotel. So I spoke with a friend who had a sister who was living in Paris. I said, well, I can arrange and then you stay with my sister. So when I got to France, they came and picked me at the airport. So I stayed with them. The first night, I was served with fufu. But I didn't hear anybody pounding fufu in that house. So someone who is preaching, you can't be asking questions. So I enjoyed my fufu. The next day, I was not served with fufu, I was served with jollof. The third day, once again, I was served with fufu, and I said, today I have to gather the courage. Since then, I never knew, until I was appointed Minister for Environment, that Need Fufu was an invention of CSIR, Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. Need Fufu was invented by a state institution, and an individual took it from CSIR. As I talk to you today, Need Fufu is produced not in Ghana, but in China and distributed across the globe. Now, if CSIR was given much attention, if they had the resources, I believe that CSIR would have been making a lot of money from their intellectual property. And that is why His Excellency the President has directed that we should work on the legal instrument, institutions for their intellectual work. Now, if it was even produced in Ghana, you can imagine the number of jobs that would have been created as a result of that. Another one is Pozzolano cement. Pozzolano cement is also an invention of CSIR. I mean, many, I can give you 6 examples. When I visited GAF, the Ghana Health Service and the Ministry of Health, from where I sit as a Minister of Cabinet, we spend money each year bringing in experts to assist in some of our equipments in the hospitals. When I visited GAIC, I realized that GAIC has the capacity to do that, and this would have saved this country millions of dollars. So the Research, Environment, Science and Technology Forum we are organizing is a pathway of finding a solution to some of these challenges. And I want to use this opportunity to invite everybody to participate in it. Initially, we were thinking of doing it biannually. We had the pre-launch last 2 months. And His Excellency the President directed that we should do it once a year. So we shall have it on the 16th of September, and I want to invite everybody to participate in the first Environment, Science and Technology Forum that we shall be organizing here. Now, everybody has lamented about research. 4 decades after African leaders declared in what is known as the Lagos Declaration that we were committing 1% of GDP into research and development 40 years ago, well, more than 40 years ago. The average percentage of GDP that is committed for the purposes of research and development in Africa is 0.42%. Israel spends 6.5% of their GDP on research and development. Korea, 5% of their GDP for research and development. China, 2.6% of their GDP for research and development. And we spend Africa average of 0.42%. So certainly, we can only be beneficiaries of people's invention, but we should be leading the invention. And one of the surest ways we can do that is to make the research institutions financially independent. And I remember when I was being vetted, I said, we're going to commercialize research. I was proposing of privatizing research institutions. That was not what I was proposing. I was proposing of commercializing research output so that the research work that they have done, they are able to make some money out of it. So even government are not able to spend money, GDP on research, at least the research institutions will be able to generate some resources because of this commercialization to be able to do some of the things they otherwise would have not been able to do. And it is important. A country that doesn't research certainly cannot innovate. And a country that doesn't innovate will be contented with what they have. As the saying goes, that in the village of the blind man, the one-eyed man is the king. So I want to assure Prof. Chair and everybody that this government is was appreciation how far we have come. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you.
No question me is as him we dey. Yeso nye ye. You say abrantia wasi su a bo me ha yo ba said ye oni kita kure a ye de won ho ho ye ho. Nanu ya no ona ba ban mu a yinim se bibi ni a yebetimi aboa na mofra ne awono epe bibi aye yebetimi afa won so kra na etima aye fufi antoata enti sase mu ye so mu enso no kwase mi ni ha ye papa na aya rehosam se onipa wakoye wasora ma de achi na wakoye oman mu adwuma na kosia nkwanhie wu te se anokware ginyame nkuto ginyame vi se aye din na me de me hawo nyina ye ne maame me hawo papa no vi se ne one ne maame tie anokware nyankopɔn anim wode na ye ni biri biara eno nti se de tie bia na na bɔ me hina me ya te se ye momɔden ne ntu anamo enko koforodua na yenko bɔ ne chidom ɔno nso so no ɔne ne nkrɔfo nso firi enkran Asia yen na ya aka no ja obi amanfo so asɛm ɔbaako akohu no adasefo wɔ bi ni nti gise bɔ me mpani ne bɔ me aman nyina yakɔta na chi koforodua hɔ na etimi chichi ne were se de aba no nyo ba kofo nko na da ne so da ye nyina so na usu anso bɔ me ni fa hene
no kware ni enne asemato bɔ me man anopa na yete ye no kware ni krono bibia beto ye so na yehu ne ye baabi a ye mfa mfiri na yehu baabi a ye de kosi se ya na anwen se sa de ebeto ye na nso so ne den anyaba yete ye no esan se yewura ye nana efu panama otoso miensa watia 90 kakra dina fe aboye no kware aboye nyanya yehu ne ye mfa mobatu ye aboabo ya no kakra yetietie mu nsem na mode ba ye sese ye ni atuoto ye nsem no kware ne yehu ne ye nka afia na sem na ba onwe esu onwe etwa jaju utwa aya ban asem nti no sese ye twan ne atie ni aban no eka enumu ne yebehu ne yebeye sese se ne medi kan no yewura eye obome hene na ne fo pna ma otosom yansa ono nso so watia 90 kakra yeguso ne kasa wa homa so nti afia na asiti no niema ni nyanya ntoto yie ye boabo ansem na no ne ehunu ginabia anase se ne yede befa ye be mamaso ate sisi de afia na abanti no ene atrankonwa kakra ye hia ha no ni fahene wo ha na nasokwa wo ha achiame wo ha ti afia ne ye boabo ya no ebinum nso so free nkokọ ne ade afia no omo so ate a wo so ba enti ye boabo ansem no nyina ano na ne besi no ye be mamaso ate sisi yo se yesi e ka no asem de a ye nwie ka o mobile siyasi ye dani ye ni kura ko ahimfie baabi ye ye kura opagya wani hwɛ soro hɔ a ebra ye si baabi ye ye foforo no ohwɛ a atitirifo a eboa emiesie no obi a adopt stand ohwɛ esoro hɔ a Dr. Omane Boamah ani yewura Julius Debra almost stand wɔ soro enti ye kyerɛ dwumadie nwanwa so a wadi amaye afi yan ICT center ono ankasa ena dum ya yen saka enma bebre wohwe ye lor kwan dana afo ha yi kwan yi abutre kwan oka ho bi enti niema wa ya maye de yesi ye ka ade be kyen yakra niema bebre a ye de be kai
The first point of Dr. Edward Omane Boamah's working visit was the Eastern Naval Command at Tema, where he inspected a guard of honor. He could face disciplinary action.
We expect a very high degree of discipline and professionalism from the Ghana Armed Forces, and that we cannot compromise. And let me also repeat, this discipline also means not providing guard duties for individuals who are not permitted. Those who provide the guard duties will be dealt with. 1. Those who deployed the people to go and provide the guard duties will also be dealt with.
The Defense Minister also commended the Navy for its role in national security, especially in securing the country's oil and gas infrastructure, fighting narcotics trafficking, and countering piracy and maritime crime. He warned that violent extremist groups and criminal syndicates are increasingly using the high seas to smuggle drugs and oil, making the work of the Navy even more critical. On personal welfare, the minister disclosed that the armed forces are facing a housing deficit of over 17,000 units, but that the government is working to complete abandoned housing projects across garrisons before initiating new ones to improve living conditions for officers. He then took a tour of some of the abandoned housing projects at the naval base. The flag officer commanding the Eastern Naval Command, Commodore Solomon Esiedulabi, also highlighted operational challenges, but said the Navy remains committed to protecting Ghana's waters, emphasizing the need for enhanced logistical support to respond effectively to maritime threats. The minister also visited the infantry battalion at Michel Camp and inspected a guard of honor. He announced that the next few years, government is going to recruit some 12,000 officers into the armed forces to offset their manpower shortfall. He also toured the base ammunition depot at Tema and the Army Recruit Training School at Shire Hills.
In the past 98 years, under the leadership of the Communist Party of China, the Chinese military 8 people. The party has also served as a strong safeguard for China's sovereignty, security, and development interests.
The Chinese military is ready to work with Ghana Armed Forces to maintain strategic communication and exchanges, to strengthen coordination and cooperation, so as to forge a strong security shield for world peace, development, and prosperity.
The Minister for Defense, Dr. Edward Omane Boamah, spoke about China's support for Ghana's military and security system in terms of infrastructural development, training, and donation of equipment.
The Ministry of Defense building in Ghana, our office, was constructed by the Chinese government through a grant of $50 million. And the building stands as a symbol of our enduring partnership. Furthermore, China has committed to funding 9 critical military projects in Ghana, including the Army Recruit Training School at Shai Hills, the Naval Training Command at Nutepo, the Air Force Training School at Takrade, and the Battle Training Camp at Bundasi. These projects will significantly enhance the capabilities of our armed forces, ensuring we are better equipped to address regional security challenges.
Referring to the history of Ghana-China diplomatic relations, China's ambassador to Ghana, Mr. Thon Defa, praised the two nations for the strides made by their forebears.
China highly appreciates Ghana's firm commitment to the One China principles, its respect for China's national sovereignty and territorial integrity, and its firm opposition to Taiwan independence. China expresses its heartfelt gratitude to the Ghanaian people for the consistent support of China. Forward ever, backwards never. I believe such is also the case for China-Ghana friendship.
Looking into the future with Ghana and Africa at large. For GBC News, Lindsay Abemensa reporting.
And relevant government officials to address the apparent operational challenges facing the industry.
Investments at the bank increased by 24.38% from
in the tragic crash. Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, MP, Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. Alhaji Muniru Mohammed Lemonad, Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator and former Minister for Food and Agriculture. Dr. Samuel Sapon, Vice Chairman of the National Democratic Congress. And Mr. Samuel Abuaji, a former parliamentary candidate. Squadron Leader Peter Bafemi Anala, Flying Officer Manin Chum Ampedu, and Sergeant Ernest Ado Mensa. And government extends our condolences and sympathies to the families of our comrades and the servicemen who died in service to the country. All flags are to fly at half-mast until further notice. Thank you.
I'm bringing these issues out there for us to know that the ammunition found in the hands of civilians may not just have come from the ingenuity of people who are tasked with responsibility. And so the investigations are ongoing, but the general public must know that these thefts have taken place and we are chasing them. And we shall chase the perpetrators to whichever hole in which they will be hiding. Because the peace and stability of Mother Ghana is far more important than any other individual's interest. And that is exactly what we will do.
Asam na yate ne yɛnteɛ. Ɛfiri sɛ anokwasɛm no yie, saa asɛm wei deɛ, yɛso mu ɛnyɛ yie. Ɛfiri sɛ aberante a wasi so a, bɔme ha woba a, sɛdeɛ ɔne kita kuro yi a yɛde wɔn hoahoa yɛ ho. Na no yi ara na ɔna ba ban mu a, yɛnim sɛ biribi ni a, yɛbɛtumi aboa na mmɔfra ne ahono ɛpɛ biribi ayɛ, yɛbɛtumi afa wɔn so kora na ɛtumi ayɛ fufi antoata. Enti saa asɛm wei yɛso mu ɛnso. Nokwasɛm no yie, ɛha yɛ papaapa. Na ɛyɛ ɛrɛhosɛm sɛ onipa wɔkɔyɛ wasɔre ama de akye na wɔkɔyɛ ɔman no mu adwuma na wɔkɔhyia nkwanhyia wu ɛte sɛ anokware gye nyame nkutoo gye nyame ɛfiri sɛ ɛyɛ den na medeɛ mehaw nyinaa yɛ ne maame mehaw papapapapa no no ɛfiri sɛnea ɔne ne maame teɛ anokware nyankopɔn anim wɔde na yɛ ne biri biara ɛno nti sɛdeɛ tie biara Nana Boamah hina me ate sɛ yɛma mmɔden a ne yɛntu anamɔ nkɔ Koforodua na yɛnkɔbɔ no kyidɔm ɔno nso so no ɔde ne nkurɔfoɔ nso firi nkran ɛhyia yɛn na yɛaka no ɔgya obi amanfo so asɛm ɔbaako akɔhu no adansefoɔ wɔ yɛ bi ne nti gye sɛ Boamah mpani ne Boamah man nyinaa yɛkɔtaa n'akyi wɔ Koforodua hɔ na yɛtumi kyekye ne werɛ sɛ deɛ aba no nyɛ ɔbaakofoɔ nko na ɛda ne so ɛda yɛ nyinaa so na Usu Anson Boamah nifa hene
nokware ni ene asɛm ato Boamah man anopa na yɛte yɛ no nokware ni kuro no biribi abɛtɔ yɛ so na yɛhu ne baabi a yɛmfa mfiri na yɛhu baabi a yɛde kɔsi sɛ yɛana anwen sɛ saa de ɛbɛto yɛn nanso so ne dɛn anya ba yɛte yɛ no ɛsiane sɛ yɛwura ɛyɛ Nana Efo-Penama ɔtɔ so mmiɛnsa watia ne nanti kakra nti na afei abɔyɛ nokware abɔyɛ nyanya yɛhu ne yɛmfa mobɛto yɛ yɛaboaboa yɛ ano kakra yɛtietie mu nsɛm ɛna mode baa yɛ seesei yɛni atuatɔ yɛ nsɛm nokware ne yɛhu ne yɛnka afei anasɛm no aba ɔnwɔ esu ɔnwɔ etwa adwadwo etwa ayɛ aban asɛm nti no sese yɛtwɛn ne yɛtie ne aban no ɛka ɛno mu ne yɛbɛhu ne yɛbɛyɛ sese sɛ ne medi kan no yɛwura ɛyɛ Boamah hene Nana Efo-Penama ɔtɔ so mmiɛnsa ɔno nso so watia ne nanti kakra yɛgu so no ne kasa wɔ ahoma so nti afei ana asi nti no nneɛma no nyinaa nya ntoto yie yɛboaboa nsɛm no ne yɛhunu gyinabea anaasɛ sɛnea yɛde bɛfa yɛbɛma mo aso ate sisi deɛ afei ana aba nti no ɛne atrankonwa kakra yɛahyia ha no nifa hene wɔ ha Nana Sokwa wɔ ha Akyeame wɔ ha nti afei ne yɛboaboa ya no ebinom nso so firi nkɔkɔɔ ne adeɛ afei na wɔn nso ate a wɔn nso ba nti yɛboaboa nsɛm no nyinaa ano na ne yɛbɛsi no yɛbɛma mo aso ate sisi sɛ yɛsi yɛka no asɛm deɛ a yɛnwie ka o mobile yi siyasi yɛdane yɛni kora kɔ ahemfie baabi a yɛ yie kora wopagya w'ani hwɛ soro hɔ a ɛberɛ a yɛsi baabi a yɛ yie foforɔ no wohwɛ a atitirifoɔ a ɛboa ɛmiesie no obiara adopto stand wohwɛ ɛsoro hɔ a Dr. Omane Boamah ne yɛwura Julius Debra ɔmo stand ɛwɔ soro nti yɛkyerɛ dwumadie nwanwa so a wadi ama yɛn afei yɛn ICT center ɔno ankasa ɛna dom yɛ a yɛn nsa kae ɛnima bebree wohwɛ yɛ lɔre kwan a danafoɔ ha ayi kwan yi abotrɛ kwan ɔka ho bi nti nneɛma a wɔyɛ ama yɛn deɛ yɛsi yɛka adeɛ bɛkye yɛn koraa nneɛma bebree a yɛde bɛkae no
asɛm no yɛate ne yɛnteeɛ ɛfiri sɛ nokwasɛm no yie saa asɛm wei deɛ yɛsɔ mu ɛnyɛ yie ɛfiri sɛ aberante a wasi so a bɔme ha woba a sɛdeɛ ɔne kita kuro yi a yɛde wɔn hoahoa yɛ ho na no yiaa na ɔna ba ban mu a yɛnim sɛ biribi ni a ɛbɛtumi aboa na mmɔfra ne
We already are missing it. We are already missing it. We have already missed them. They are going with their bodies. Hey! Oh, this is the most important shot we could have gotten so far, and we have missed them.
has claimed 8 lives, including those of the Minister of Defense, Dr. Edward Omane Boamah, and the Minister for Environment. We will now go over to the Ashanti region, where our correspondent is standing by to give us details.
Okay. Well, you're seeing in your pictures of the victims of the crash here are being conveyed to Kumasi and for onward transportation to Accra. And that is supposed to be the last activity here for today, the Black Wednesday in the annals of the country. And so these are the things you are seeing in your shot, the ambulances. One of the national ambulances here, Obuasi West, conveying some of the bodies. Then we also have ambulance from the security services also here. Then we have one of the UN ambulances that is also here. And so they are moving. They are moving. You can see from your shot the atmosphere here, and it is a scene and a sight to behold as the security arrangement here and the deployment here is top notch. And for the military, when any of their staff or their members are got into such a situation, they give their body the best of treatment and the best of respect. And so that is what has happened. Some rituals or traditional customary rites have already been performed by the traditional leadership of this particular community. That is Sikama Brofedu Adansi Komina has already been performed. Now the bodies are being conveyed, are being transported, and very soon the ambulances will take off, and that will be it for today. Before we continue, so that all the other activities will continue. Service also taking off. Yes. Hey. Unfortunately, we have had to take off because this is the situation. And so we have little time to be on the ground as all the vehicles, including that conveying the media, are taking off. And so that is the situation here. So we are bringing the whole of activities surrounding this national disaster to a close as of this time. And so you are still seeing shots. You are still seeing shots from the community that is at the base of the mountain where the incident happened. And so the vehicles are ready to take off, but you are seeing residents of the community and the adjoining communities coming here to share in the grief day. You are still seeing some shots from Adansi Bofedu in the Adansi Akofom district here in the Ashanti region. Okay. I hope you can hear. Yes, you are seeing shots from Adansi. Okay. I hope I'm clear. Yes, you are seeing shots from the Adansi Sikamai Brofedu in the Adansi Akofom community district here in the Ashanti region. That is where the crash involving the helicopter of the Ghana Armed Forces occurred this morning around 10 a.m. and it was conveying a total of 8 people. 3 members of the crew, and then five other 5 passengers, including senior government officials like the Minister for Defense, who was representing the president at the ceremony at Obuasi, where the official launch of the new program of the government was taking place. Unfortunately, they could not make it. Together with the Minister for Science, Environment, Technology and Innovation, Mr. Ibrahim Murtala. And so you are seeing in your shot the convoy that includes the ambulances carrying the remains of the victims of the crash. So that is what is happening. So finally, we have left the community for Kumasi, and where the bodies will be conveyed possibly by air to Accra for the rest of activities to be performed by government. So I'm going to forward the video give you. So that is it. That is it. These are the last videos from the scene of today's disaster of that magnitude. It is believed to be the first such an incident has happened in recent times in Ghana. And so that is the situation here. It is a sad, a solemn occasion or event we are all witnessing. So video asa boy. I mean, I'm making you so. I'm telling you, what's it me according to?
Nine, 12 minutes past 9 in the morning of today, the helicopter took off in Accra, and the Air Force has issued a statement saying it departed Accra at approximately 12 past 9 a.m. GMT, bound for Obuasi in the Ashanti region. Shortly after takeoff, the statement made us understand that radar contact with the aircraft was lost. Emergency teams were dispatched to the Adanse area following failure to re-establish communication. A few hours later, officials confirmed that the helicopter had indeed crashed. We're told it burst into flames near Obuasi, and we've seen also graphic footage showing the wreckage engulfed in fire, with many, in fact, all the victims sustaining burns. The victims, 8 of them, have been identified and named, and 2 ministers of President Mohammed's cabinet were on board. Dr. Edward Kofi Omane Boamah is Minister for Defense. Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, Minister for Environment, Science and Technology and MP for Tamale Central. Also on board was the Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator, Alhaji Muniru Mohammed. Dr. Samuel Sapong, who is Vice Chairman of the ruling National Democratic Congress, NDC, was also on board the helicopter. a former parliamentary candidate of the Mr. Samuel Boamah was also there, and crew on board the Air Force aircraft were also lost in this tragedy. Squadron leader Peter Bafemi Anala, who was a pilot, Flying Officer Manin Chum Ampedu, the co-pilot, and Sergeant Ernest Adu Mensah, who was a crew member, making up the 8 lives lost in this disaster. From the Jubilee House in Accra, Chief of Staff Mr. Julius Deborah led the official press briefing, and he described the event as a national tragedy and extended condolences on behalf of the President and the government. So we'll bring you a peek of the statement made by Honorable Julius Deborah today at Jubilee House, where he made the breaking discovery.
Dr. Samuel Sapon, Vice Chairman of the National Democratic Congress, and Mr. Samuel Boamah, a former parliamentary candidate. Squadron Leader Peter Bafemi Anala, Flying Officer Manin Chum Ampedu, and Sergeant Ernest Adu Mensah. And government extends our condolences and sympathies to the families of our comrades and the servicemen who died in service to the country. All flags are to fly at half-mast until further notice. Thank you.
Asem no yate ne yɛntie if you say no kwase mini say asem we die yeso mo enye yie if you say abrante a wasi su a bo me ha yo ba se de oni kure a ye de won hoahoa ye ho na nu ya no na ona ba ban mu a yini se bibi ni a yebetimi aboa na mofra ne awono epe bibi aye yebetimi afa won so kora na etimi aye fufi anto ata enti sa asem we yeso mo enso no kwase mini ha ye papa na eya rehosam se onipa wokoye wasora amade achi na wokoye oman no mu adwuma na kosia nkwanhie wu ete se anokware ginyame nkuto ginyame vi se ayede na me de me hawo nyina ye ne maame me hawo papa no vi se ne one ne maame tie anokware nyankopon anim wode na ye ne biri biara eno nti se de tie bia na na bo me hina me yate se yemomodin ani na mo enko koforudua na yenko bo no chidom ono nso so no ode ne nkrofo nso free enkran Asia yen na ya aka no ja obi amanfo so asem akon akohunu adasefo wen bi ni nti gise bo me mpani ne bo me amman nyina yakota na chi koforudua ho na etimi chichi ne were se de aba no nyoba akofo nko na da ne so da ye nyina so na usu anso bo me ni fa hene
no kware ni enne asemato bo me man anopana yete no kware ni krono bibia betoye so na yehu ne babia ye mfa mfiri na yehu babia ye de kosi se ya na anwen se sade ebetoye na nso so ne den anyaba yete no esan se yewura nana efu panama otoso miensa watia 90 kakra dinafe aboye no kware aboye nyanya yehu ne yemfa mobatu ye aboabo ya no kakra yetieti mu nsem na mode ba ye sese ye ni atuoto ensem no kware ne yehu ne yenka afia na sem na ba onwe esu onwe twajaju twa aya ban asem nti no sisi ye twan ne atie ne aban no eka enumu ne ebehu ne ebeye sisi se ne medi kan no yewura eye obome hene na ne fo na ma otoso miensa ono nso so watia 90 kakra yeguso ne kasa wa homa so nti afia na asiti no niema ni nyanya ntutu yie ye boabo ansem na no ni ehunu ginabia anase sene ye de befa ye be mama so ate sisi de afia na abanti no ene atrankonwa kakra ye hia ha no nifa hene wo ha na nasokwa wo ha achiame wo ha ti afi ne ye boaboa ya na binum nso so free nkokọ ne ade afi no omo so ate a wo so ba enti ye boaboa nsam no nyina ano na ne besi no ye be mama so ate sisi yo se ye se e kan no asem de a ye nwie ka o mobile siesi ye dane ye nipa ko ahemfie ba bi ye kra opagya wani hwɛ soro hɔ a ebra ye si ba bi ye foforo no ohwɛ a atitirifo a eboa emiesie no obi a doctor stand ohwɛ esoro hɔ a Dr. Omane Boamah ani yewura Julius Debra almost stand e wɔ soro enti ye kyerɛ dwumadie nwanwa so a wadi amaye afi yan ICT center ono ankasa ena dum ya yen saka enma bebre wohwe ye lor kwan danafo ha yi kwan yi abutre kwan oka ho bi enti niema wa ya amaye de yesi ye ka ade be kyen yakra niema bebre a ye de be kai
Just gone by, we've heard from Chief of Staff Julius Debra from the Jubilee House in Accra. As the nation grapples with this profound tragedy, flags have been ordered to fly at half-mast indefinitely in tribute. The president has declared a period of national sorrow, acknowledging the void left in our leadership in the hearts of all Ghanaians. And we've also seen a number of statements being issued across the divide from the political front. We also saw on our screen scenes from the family house of Dr. Omane Boamah in Kwehu Oboming. We understand that a congregation of some sort will be held in Kofodia and some communication will be made. And once we have that information, we'll share those with you. But on the front of the statements that have been received so far, the minority caucus in Parliament, signed by the leader of that side, Osahin Alexander Afenyo-Markin, has also signed the statement on behalf of his caucus in the House. And it was also on the military helicopter crash that killed 8 Ghanaians. And I'll read parts of the statement which said that following the formal announcement earlier today by the Chief of Staff, Honorable Julius Debra, confirming the tragic cruelty in Parliament over this devastating accident that has claimed 8 precious Ghanaian lives, including 2 distinguished cabinet ministers and dedicated public servants who gave their role in service of our beloved Ghana. A nation in mourning is how the statement continues, and it says the loss of Defense Minister Dr. Edward Omane Boamah, Environment Minister Honorable Dr. Alhaji Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator Mourning Mohammed, NDC Sapong, and our 3 valiant military personnel, Squadron Leader Peter Bafemi Anala, represents a profound human loss that touches the very soul of our country. These were fathers, husbands, sons, and devoted patriots who awakened this fateful Wednesday morning with the noble intention of serving Ghana. I must speak from the heart about the 2 men I knew, not as political opponents, but as fellow Ghanaians united in our love for this country. Honorable Dr. Alhaji Murtala Mohammed and I may have sat across the parliamentary aisle, but we shared countless moments of genuine discourse about Ghana's future. His passion for environmental protection transcended party politics, and he possessed the rare quality of listening with intent to understand. Dr. Edward Omane Boamah brought to his role as defense minister a scholar's intellect combined with a patriot's heart. In our private conversations, I witnessed a man deeply committed to modernizing our armed forces whilst preserving the values that make Ghana's military a source of national pride. These personal losses remind us that behind every political position lies a human being, someone's beloved family member, someone's trusted friend. To His Excellency the President, the statement says, I extend my sincere condolences and the full support of the minority in Parliament in these difficult times. Your loss is our loss. Your grief is our grief. In this moment of national tragedy, we stand united with you as Ghanaians mourning together. To the grieving families of all 8 victims, government ministers, members of the majority caucus, NDC members, military personnel, and public servants alike, our hearts go out to you in this darkest hour. To all Ghanaians who mourn with heavy hearts, know that your loved ones did not die in vain. Let us honor these 8 souls by supporting our armed forces, protecting Ghana's environment, and working together for our nation's security and prosperity. Let us channel our grief into renewed determination to build the Ghana they envisioned, where public service is viewed as a sacred trust and every citizen can contribute to our national progress. May their souls rest in perfect peace, and may their memories remain everlasting beacons of light, guiding us towards a more united and prosperous Ghana. That was signed Osahin Alexander Kwamina Afenyomakin, Minority Leader, on behalf of the Minority Caucus in Parliament. That side was not the only side that has issued a statement on the tragic killing of the 8 on board that helicopter. The Majority Caucus in Parliament has also issued a statement titled Parliamentary Caucus mourns the tragic loss of colleagues and distinguished Ghanaians in a helicopter crash. And this statement is signed by the Honorable Mahama Yariga, Majority Leader and Leader of Government Business in the Parliament of Ghana. And it reads, it is with a deeply broken heart and profound sorrow that I, on behalf of the Parliamentary Caucus, extend my deepest condolences to the families, colleagues and loved ones of our colleagues and distinguished patriotic Ghanaians who lost their lives in the tragic helicopter crash that occurred on August 8, 2025 at Adanse Akrofom district in the Ashanti region of Ghana. The nation mourns the painful loss of Dr. Edward Omane Boamah, Minister of Defense, Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, and Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, Alhaji Mourning Mohammed, Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator, Dr. Samuel Sapong, Vice Chairman of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, Samuel Abuaje, former parliamentary candidate, Squadron Leader Peter Bafemi Anala, Pilot, Flying Officer Manin Chum Ampedu, Co-Pilot, and Sergeant Ernest Ado Mensa, crew member, our former colleagues in Parliament and in government, and the officers we have lost dedicated their lives to the service of our nation. Their untimely and tragic demise is a devastating blow to Parliament, the government, the armed forces, and the people of Ghana as a whole. On behalf of the Parliamentary Caucus, I join the President, members of the government, and all Ghanaians in expressing heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families. Their sacrifice, patriotism, and commitment to duty will forever be etched in the history of our republic. May their souls rest in peace. And this statement from the Majority Caucus in Parliament was signed by the Honorable Mahama Yariga, Majority Leader and Leader of Government Business of the Parliament of Ghana. We've also seen a press statement from the German ambassador for Ghana and from the Federal Republic of Germany, and it reads, Germany stands in grief and solidarity with Ghana. It is with deep sorrow and heartfelt sympathy that the German embassy in Accra has learned of the tragic loss of life in a helicopter crash on Wednesday, August 6, 2025. Our thoughts and prayers are with the government, families, and friends of the victims. Among the victims were honorable public servants, including 2 ministers with whom the German embassy has worked closely and trustfully. Their dedication to Ghana's development, their vision, and their personal warmth will be deeply missed. Germany stands in grief and solidarity with the people of Ghana during this difficult time. And it's signed by the German embassy in Accra. A few moments ago, we connected with our Ashanti regional correspondent, Nicholas Osei-Wusu, who witnessed the departure of the remains from the site of the helicopter crash. He told us in that report that all the remains have been recovered, retrieved from the crash site, and they have been placed in ambulances and is currently part of a convoy that is driving towards the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, where he tells us he believes the remains may be placed on board an aircraft for possible return to the national capital, Accra. So we'll connect with him again when he does have some more details to share, and he will tell us some more. But this is what we have heard today on Wednesday, August the 6th, 2025. A helicopter that left Accra bound for the Ashanti region, where the occupants were expected to be a part of an official government program, did not make it to its final destination. We understand from earlier reports that bad weather may have been a contributing factor to the chopper coming down unexpectedly, and unfortunately all the occupants, all the passengers and the crew on board the military helicopter did not survive. Ghana is in mourning. All flags are flying at half-mast, and we're sharing details as and when we do get them. This is our running coverage of the tragedy. We'll be back.